Hello everyone, my name's Chyna, I'm from the Deep, and today I'll be reading Santa is Coming to Hull, written by Steve Smallman and illustrated by Robert Dunn. Well, boomed Santa, have all the children from Hull been good this year? Well, mostly, answered the little old elf as he hustled through the busy workshop to Santa's desk. Santa peered down at the elf from behind the tall, teetering piles of letters that the children from Hull had sent him. Mostly, asked Santa, looking over the top of his glasses. Yes, but they've all been especially good in the last few days, answered the elf. Jolly good, chuckled Santa. Then we'd better get their presents loaded up. Even though the sack of presents was really, really big and the elves were really, really small, they seemed to have no trouble loading it onto Santa's sleigh. Though how they managed to fit such a big sack of presents onto one little sleigh, even they didn't know. But somehow they did. Splendid, boomed Santa. We're ready to go. Not quite, Santa, said the little old elf. One of our reindeer is missing. Missing? Which reindeer is missing? asked Santa. The youngest one, Santa, said the elf. It's his first flight tonight. I've called him and called him, but just then a young reindeer strolled up, munching on a large carrot. Where have you been? asked Santa. The youngest reindeer was crunching so loudly that it was no wonder he hadn't heard the little old elf calling. Oh, well, never mind, said Santa, giving the reindeer a little wink. He took out his Santa nav and tapped in the postcode, HU1 for Hull. This will guide us to Hull in no time. With a flick of the reins and a jerk of the harness, off they went, racing through the sky. Ho, 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 laughed Santa. We'll soon have those parcels delivered to happy Hull. Santa's sleigh flew through the starry night, heading south across the North Sea. On they flew in the crisp, wintry air, crossing the coast over Sunderland. In the wink of an eye, the sleigh was flying above the North York moors and on to Hull. The youngest reindeer was very excited. He'd never been away from the North Pole before. They were just crossing over Bishop Wilton Wold when suddenly they ran into a blizzard. Snowflakes whirled around the sleigh. They couldn't see a thing. The youngest reindeer was getting a bit worried, but Santa didn't seem concerned. In 2 kilometres, said the Santa nav in a bossy lady's voice, keep left at the next star. But madam, Santa blustered, I can't see any stars in all this snow. Soon they were hopelessly lost. Then, through the howling blizzard, the youngest reindeer heard a faint ringing sound. He looked over at the old reindeer with the red nose, but he had his head down. There was that sound again, like church bells ringing. The youngest reindeer turned around to look at Santa, but Santa wasn't listening. He seemed to be arguing with a little box with buttons on it. With a flick of the harness and a jerk of the reins, the youngest reindeer gave a sharp tug and headed off towards the sound of the bells, pulling Santa in his sleigh behind him. Whoa, cried Santa, pulling his hat straight. What's going on? Then, to his surprise, he heard a ringing sound. Well done, young reindeer, he shouted cheerfully. It must be the bells of Holy Trinity Church. Don't worry, children, Santa is coming. But suddenly, the sleigh hit something as it pummeled through the snow clouds. You have arrived, said the Santa nav, unhelpfully. Finally, when the snow had died down and the clouds parted, Santa discovered exactly where they were, stuck right at the very top of the Guildhall. Everybody pull! The reindeer pulled with all their might until at last, with a screeching noise, the sleigh scraped clear of the tower and Santa steered them safely onto the Wilberforce Monument above Beverley Road, along Cave Street and down into Pearson Park. Luckily, there was no real damage done, but the parcels had all been jumbled up. Santa quickly sorted the parcels into order again. Right, said Santa. Thanks to this younger reindeer, I know where we are now. Don't worry, children, Santa is coming. Santa drove his sleigh expertly from rooftop to rooftop, all over Hull, popping in and out of chimneys as fast as he could. There were big chimneys in Bricknell and small chimneys in Ings. He squeezed down them chimneys in Longhall and plummeted down fat chimneys in Sutton. The youngest reindeer was amazed at how quickly they went. Santa never seemed to get tired at all, and he looked like all the children in Hull were getting to be very lucky this year. But the youngest reindeer was starting to feel a bit weary and quite hungry too. In house after house, Santa delved inside his sack for parcels of every shape and size. He piled them under the Christmas trees and carefully filled up the stockings with surprises. In house after house, the good children of Hull had left out a large mince pie and a small glass of something and a big chunky carrot. Santa took a little bite out of each mince pie, a tiny sip of something, wiped his beard and popped the carrots into his sack. From Kings Park to Drypool, from Marfleet to Myton, from Boothferry to Bransholme East, and all the places in between, Santa and his sleigh visited every house in Hull. Santa delivered presents to Alfie, Ava, Ben, Brooke, Charlie, Chloe. The list went on and on. Zach, Zara, Zibble. Finally, Santa had delivered the last present on his long Hull list. Great moons and stars, he sighed. It's past midnight and my sack seems as heavy as ever. I hope I haven't forgotten anyone. Santa opened his sack to check, but it was full of juicy, crunchy carrots. Santa shared out the carrots between all the reindeer. Well done, lad, he said, patting the youngest reindeer gently on the nose. But the youngest reindeer didn't hear him. He was too busy munching. Then it was time to set off for home. Santa reset his Santa nav for the North Pole, and soon they were speeding above Hull on to Hessel and over the Humber Bridge through the crisp, starry night. Ho, 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 laughed Santa. Merry Christmas, Hull.